When talking about the best weapon in Aria of Sorrow, the main contender is most often the claimh solais, which makes sense. The claimh solais is the 4th strongest weapon in the game based on attack stat, with an extremely large swing range and fast swing speed, as well as the holy attribute, which a lot of the game is weak to, and it's also jump cancelable, which for those who don't know basically means that your attack animation ends when you land from the air during an attack, which lets you attack a lot quicker if you repeatedly jump. But I don't think this weapon choice is correct. The Final Sword is considerably better than this in my opinion. Now when you look at Final Sword, it doesn't really seem like a comparison. Its range is basically the same as claimh, and though it is slightly stronger as the 3rd strongest weapon in the game, its swing speed is much slower and it only has the sword attribute, which only offers a 25% damage boost to enemies weak to it compared to the 100% boost from elemental attributes. It also isn't jump cancelable, so why would I think this is the best weapon in the game? Well, the first reason is the existence of backdash canceling. Basically, you can cancel any weapon attack into a backdash in this game, but the game only lets you do this once, so if you try to repeatedly backdash your attacks over and over, it won't let you. However, you can get around this by jumping, which will give you back your backdash cancel. So repeatedly doing this will let you cancel any weapon attack as if it's jump cancelable, even if it isn't supposed to be. This lets Final Sword get similar attack speeds to claimh solais, as long as you have the execution, which to be fair is extremely demanding. Of course, the weapon still wouldn't be as good, even with this execution, since it doesn't have the holy element that 38 of the 113 enemies in this game take double damage to. Which brings me into the second reason I think this is the best weapon in the game. The Final Sword has the shortest hit interval out of any weapon behind only the handguns to my knowledge, which is the amount of time that has to pass after landing a hit with a weapon before the same weapon can deal damage again, and is why stuff like this won't work with certain weapons. Since the Final Sword's hit interval is so insanely short, it's allowed to hit again super quickly after dealing damage, so hitting enemies with certain parts of the sword will cause it to hit twice, effectively giving it twice the damage output it would otherwise have. The claimh solais' hit interval is a lot longer, so even if the swing animation is a lot faster, it literally can't attack even half as quickly as the Final Sword can. This basically gives Final Sword 1.5 to double the damage output of claimh against any enemy not weak to holy, depending on how finicky your spacing has to be to get 2 hits in one swing. For instance, some grounded enemies seem like they won't get hit by both hits if you jump too low, so you need to jump higher to hit with the bottom of the sword instead. But anyway, this is really why I think this is the best weapon in the game. If you have the execution, you can get damage output no other weapon can barring weaknesses. The 2 stronger weapons, Excalibur and Death's Sickle, both have pretty long hit intervals, so there's really no competition here. Final Sword has by far the highest consistent damage in the game, as long as you put the time into learning how to use it. What's really interesting is that even against wholly weak enemies, though the damage of Final Sword is usually slightly lower than claimh due to spacing issues, claimh is usually better against these guys. Given completely perfect execution and spacing, the Final Sword is actually still slightly faster than the claimh at dealing damage, just because of claimh's longer hit interval, which won't let it attack as quickly by a few frames. This doesn't really matter. I doubt humans will ever be good enough at doing this so this will ever really come into effect, but I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say in this video. Thank you for watching.